use OOPS concepts also in the TypeScript. We can use OOPS concepts also in the TypeScript. Why we learned this TypeScript? We learned this TypeScript to develop our applications by using Angular. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is Angular? Can anyone tell me what is Angular? Angular is a client-side framework. Angular is a client-side framework developed by Google. Developed by which company? Google. Angular framework is developed based on TypeScript. Angular framework is developed based on TypeScript. Angular framework developed based on TypeScript. You got it? Angular is a client-side framework developed by Google company. Angular framework is developed based on TypeScript. Angular framework developed based on TypeScript. Angular is mainly used for single page applications. Mainly used for single page applications. Are you guys able to understand my point? Angular is mainly used for single page applications. Mainly used for single page applications. Okay. Angular is a client-side framework developed by Google. Angular framework is developed based on TypeScript. Angular is mainly used for single page applications. Angular supports multiple devices. Angular supports multiple devices like mobiles and desktops. Mobiles and desktops. You don't need to develop a separate application for your mobile and desktop. Single application will perform. Single application will work in the both mobile and desktop. Angular supports multiple browsers. Angular supports multiple browsers. That means it is browser compatible. It will work in all the browsers. It will work in all the browsers. Okay. Angular is free and open source. Angular is free and open source. Angular is free and open source. Angular JS and Angular both are not same. Angular JS and Angular both are not same. Not same. Angular JS is developed by using JavaScript. Angular framework. Angular 2+ versions onwards, it is called as Angular framework. Angular 2+ from Angular 2 version, it is called as Angular framework. It is called as Angular framework. Earlier it is called as Angular JS. Now it is called as Angular framework. From Angular 2, 3, 4. Now the current version of the Angular is 13. The current version of Angular is 13. The current version of Angular is 13. The current version of the Angular is 13. Is this clear for all of you? Why we are learning Angular, and in order to learn the Angular, why we learn the TypeScript? Angular framework is developed by using TypeScript, so that's why we discussed about the TypeScript first. Now we are going for Angular. Angular is a client-side framework which is developed by Google company. Angular framework is developed based on TypeScript. Angular is mainly used for single page applications. Angular supports multiple devices, mobiles and desktops. Angular supports multiple browsers also. Angular is free and open source. Angular JS and Angular both are not same. From Angular 2 version onwards, it is called as Angular framework. The current version of the Angular is 13. The current version of the Angular is 13. Now let us see Angular architecture, guys. Let us see Angular architecture. In the Angular, there are several building blocks are available. Let's talk about the Angular architecture. In the Angular, the most important thing is component. The Angular, the most important thing is component. Components are available in the Angular. For that component, we will have some metadata. For that component, we are going to have some metadata. Guys, I'm explaining architecture of the Angular. Metadata. And we will be having some services. We will be having some services for that Angular. Okay. Then we are having some template. We are having some template. Right. For this template, we are having some directives and pipes. For the template, we are having some directives and pipes. Directives are available and pipes also available. Directives available and pipes also available. Directives available and pipes also available. Right. Fine. Here, component will be talking to metadata. Component, data about the data is called as metadata. For Angular component, metadata will be available. For Angular component, metadata will be available. Services will be injected to the component. Services will be injected to the component. Component will be talking to template. Component will be talking to template. Template will be using directives and pipes. Template will be using directives and pipes. In between the component and the template, there is a concept called data binding. Between the component and the template, there is a concept called data binding. That is two-way data binding. It's not one-way data binding. It is two-way data binding. Two-way data binding is available. Two-way data binding available between the component and the template. Two-way data binding. Two-way data binding available for component and the template. Right. Now, services will be injected, dependency injection. Here it is called as dependency injection. Service will be injected into component. Services will be injected into components. This is called dependency injection. Guys, we can call this as the architecture of the Angular. We can call this as Angular architecture. Able to follow me? Are you able to follow me? What is Angular architecture? Are you able to follow me? What is Angular architecture? Come on. Are you able to follow what is the Angular architecture? Yes. Component will be available. Metadata is available. Services available. Template is available. Directives available. And pipes available. Okay. Guys, here, first of all, template. Template is a HTML page which contains presentation logic. What is the template in the Angular now? You see my application. Can you see my application? In this application, can you see the menu? Can you see the banners? Can you see some images? Can you see some text here? Can you see some text here? Yes, right? These are called as, this is called as HTML page. This is called as a template. This is called as a template. Template is nothing but a HTML file which contains presentation logic. Okay. Now, for this HTML page, from this HTML to this HTML, we can send some data. These images are coming dynamically. These banners are coming dynamically. Okay, these images are coming dynamically. So we need to send some data to this template. And whenever you perform some operation on the template, the request will go to the component. Component is nothing but a portion of the web page. It is something like a controller. Component is something like a controller in our web application. Component will send the data to template, will take the data from the template. So the process of sending the data from component to template, template to component is called as two-way data binding. Two-way data binding. Component will send the data to template, template will send the data to the component. It is called as two-way data binding. It is called as what, guys? Two-way data binding. So do you understand what is component and what is the template? Do you understand what is a component and what is a template? Guys, come on. Component represents a portion of the web page. It contains a business logic. Component contains a logic to handle the request and response. Component contains the logic to handle the request and response in our Angular application. Template is a HTML file which represents the presentation logic. Next one, services. Service contains a business logic. If you want to interact with the REST APIs, HTTP client module, all the business logic, reusable business logic we are going to write in the service layer. Service object will be injected to component. That is called dependency injection. Service object will be injected to component. That is called as dependency injection. Then metadata. There are so many components in our application. There are so many templates in our application. Which component belongs to which template? That metadata we are going to configure. Okay. Now in my application, login component is available. Registration component is available. Dashboard component is available. Login component available, registration component available, dashboard component available, training schedule component is available, online training component available, classroom training component available, weekend workshop component available, free training component is available. Okay, for every component there is a separate template file. Which component belongs to which template, which component belongs to which template, that we configure in metadata. That means, hey, login component, you need to give the login HTML. Hey, registration component, you need to talk to registration HTML. Login component should talk to login HTML. Registration component should talk to registration HTML. So the mapping or the relation between the component and template will be available in the metadata. The relation between the component and template will be available as a metadata. Okay. Then after, directives. Directives are used to manipulate the DOM elements. That means directives are used to manipulate the DOM elements. You see here, if you go to one page in our website which is called mock interviews. In this mock interviews page, can you see what is the fees available here? Is there any fees available? No fees available. But when you select experience, the fees is coming. If you select the experience 0 to 3 years, it is giving $7.99. If you select 3 to 6 years, it is giving $8.99. 6 to 10 years, $2.99. So without reloading the page, the content is modifying. I'm able to change the value of the drop down without reloading the page. Without reloading the page, I'm able to modify the content. This is called modifying the DOM element, manipulating the DOM elements. So here in the Angular application, if you want to manipulate the DOM elements in the HTML, we can go for directives. Directives are used to manipulate the DOM elements. Then template is a view file which contains the presentation logic. The next one is pipes. Pipes are used to transform the data. I want to convert the data from one format to another format, then we will go for pipes concept. If you want to transform the data from one format to, another format, then you will go for a concept called pipes concept. If you want to transform the data from one format to another format, then you will go for a concept called pipes concept. You will go for a concept called pipes concept. Are you guys clear with this? Are you guys clear with this? Come on. Come on guys, are you clear with this? Right. Pipes are used to transform the data from one format to another format. Like I have the data in the uppercase format. Now I want to convert the data into lowercase format. From uppercase to lowercase, that is called transformation. If you want to transform the data from one format to another format, then you can go for pipes. If you want to transform the data from one format to another format, then you will go for a concept called pipes concept. You got it? Next one, template, presentation logic, directives to manipulate the DOM elements, services, business logic. Service object will be injected to component through dependency injection. Component represents a portion of the web page which contains the logic to handle the request and response. Metadata, data about the data, which component belongs to which template, that metadata is available. Guys, are you clear with Angular architecture? Are you guys clear with Angular architecture? Yeah, these are also called as building blocks of the Angular, guys. These are also called as Angular building blocks. You don't worry, I have prepared the notes for the Angular also. I hope you will like this. Guys, the TypeScript notes helpful? Whatever the notes I have prepared for the TypeScript, is it helpful for you? Helpful or not helpful? Helpful. Similarly, I have prepared a notes for Angular also. I prepared the notes for Angular also. Angular building blocks. Angular building blocks. First one is component. Do you know what is a component in the Angular? What is a component in the Angular? Angular components represents application state and application logic. Angular application is a collection of components. In components, we will write the logic to send the data to view and capture the data from view. Components are TypeScript classes. Angular application is collection of components only. In components, we will write the logic to send the data to template. View nothing but a template and capture the data from template. Capture the data from template. Component is nothing but a TypeScript class. So do you know what is a TypeScript class? How to import, how to export the TypeScript classes? Yes, TypeScript class. Right. So Angular application is collection of components. In components, we will write the logic to send the data to template and capture the data from the template. Components are TypeScript classes. TypeScript classes. It contains the logic. Component contains logic to capture the data from the template and send the data to the template. That means request response handling will be taken care by components in the Angular. Next one is metadata. Metadata nothing but data about the data. It provides information about components. Metadata nothing but data about the data. It provides information about our components. That means which component should talk to which template that we are going to specify. Which component should talk to which template that we are going to specify. Next one is the template. Template is a view where we will write our presentation logic. In Angular application, template is a HTML file. Every component contains its own template. Every component contains its own template. Template is a view where we will write our business logic. Template is a view where we will write our business logic. In Angular application, template is a HTML file. Every component contains its own template. Every component contains its own template. Good. Next one, data binding. What is a data binding? Data binding is the process of sending the data from component to template and a template to component. Data binding is the process of binding data between component property and view element in template file. That means component data I want to send to the template data I want to take in the component. For that we are going to use data binding. Data binding is the process of binding data between component property and view element in the template file. Data binding is the process of binding data between component property and view element in the template file. Got it? Next one, modules. Module is a collection of components, directives and pipes. Modules is a collection of components and directives and pipes. Next one, services. Service means it contains reusable business logic. Services classes we will use in service classes we will inject in components. We will inject in components using dependency injection. Using dependency injection. I don't need to explain you what is a dependency injection because already we know in the Spring. It is a Already we know that in the Spring, what is a dependency injection? Service object will be injected into component. That means service class contains the business logic. That business logic we are going to access in the component. Service object will be injected to component. Service means it contains reusable business logic. Service classes we will inject in the components using dependency injection. Dependency injection is the process of injecting dependent object into target object. In Angular applications, services will be injected into components using DI. The process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. In the Angular, we will perform the dependency injection to inject service classes into TypeScript. Service is a TypeScript class. Component is also a TypeScript class. So service class object we will inject into component class by using dependency injection. Directives are there. Directives are used to manipulate DOM elements. What is the purpose of directives? Directives are used to manipulate the DOM elements. If you want to load the data dynamically without reloading the page, then we will go for directives in the Angular. The next one is pipes. Pipes are used to transform the data before displaying. What is the purpose of pipes, guys? Pipes are used to transform the data before displaying, like converting from uppercase letters to lowercase letters. For that we are going to use these pipes. These are the building blocks of the Angular. So this is also called as Angular architecture. In this Angular we have several building blocks. Guys, now do you got the clarity? Did you get the clarity on what is component, what is a template, what is service, what is metadata, what is a directive, and what is pipe? Did you get the clarity on these topics now? Metadata, component, services, directives, templates, pipes. Metadata represents which component belongs to which template belongs to which component. Services contains a business logic. Service objects will be injected to component. Template is a view file. It is a HTML file which contains the presentation logic. To send the data from component to template to component, we will use data binding. It's a one-way data binding or it's a two-way data binding. It's a two-way data binding. Component data we can send to template data we can send to component. Component data we can send to template data we can send to component. Next one is directives. Directives are used to manipulate DOM elements. What is the purpose of directives? Directives are used to manipulate the DOM elements. Right. Next one, pipes. Pipes are used to transform the data in the template. If you want to display some data, if you want to transform that data, then we will go for a concept called pipes concept. Are you guys clear with this now? Come on. So with this you understand what is Angular, what is TypeScript, you know now. You know what is TypeScript, you know what is Angular, and you know Angular architecture also. And what are the building blocks of the Angular. And the next one is environment setup for Angular. That means how to install the Angular in our system and how to develop our application by using Angular. Okay, already we have done Node.js installation, we have done TypeScript installation, and we have downloaded Visual Studio Code IDE also. What is the pending step that we need to do, guys? What is the pending step that we need to do now? Come on. What is the pending step that we need to do? Arey Baba, please respond. We just need to install the Angular CLI. Already these three steps are completed when we are learning TypeScript. Yes, when we are learning the TypeScript, we have installed the Node.js, we installed the TypeScript, we have installed VS Code IDE. Now we need to install Angular CLI. Chalo, let me go for our 19 JRTP folder. Let me create one workspace that is called NG workspace. NG nothing but Angular, guys. I'm going to take this workspace as NG workspace. NG workspace nothing but Angular workspace. I'm going to NG workspace, open VS Code IDE from here, code dot. Yes, code space dot. It will open my VS Code IDE from that folder. It will open VS Code IDE from that folder. Okay. Currently, do we have anything here? Do we have anything here? We don't have anything. We don't have anything. A plain IDE I have opened, nothing is available. Now, can we open the terminal from here? Can we open the terminal from here? Can I open a terminal? Terminal, new terminal. Guys, some people are opening the PowerShell here. Don't open the PowerShell. I'm opening a command prompt. I'm opening the command prompt. From this command prompt, we need to install Node. Node is already installed. TypeScript already installed. Now we just need to install Angular. Can we check the Node version? Node-v. Node is available, 12.19 version available. TSC-v. TypeScript version 4.6 is available. TypeScript available, Node available. Then what we need to do? Install Angular. Install the Angular. For installing the Angular, guys, if you don't have the Node, you can download the Node from here and you install. Whenever you install the Node, we are going to use the Node Package Manager npm. To install the TypeScript, npm install -g TypeScript, this command we can execute. If you want to check the version of the TypeScript, you can check this command. To install the Angular, this is the command. Now you see, npm install @angular/cli-g. -g nothing but global. You can use that Angular from any location. npm space install space @angular/cli-g. Now I am installing Angular in my system. I'm installing Angular by using npm. npm is a Node Package Manager. Now you see here, it is getting installed. Angular is getting installed in my system. Yes guys, now added 30 packages. Which version of the Angular it is installed now? Which version of the Angular it is installed now? ng-v. Node.js version 12.19.0 detected. Angular CLI requires a minimum Node.js version of either 12.20, version 14.15 or version 16.0. So that means it is saying that in my system, old version of the Node is available. So it requires a minimum Node.js version of either 12.0, 14.15 or 16.0. Then let me do one thing. Let me reinstall the node, guys. Let me reinstall the node. It is saying the old version of the node available here. Let me reinstall the node. Download the 16.14.2 version. Let me reinstall the Node.js. Latest version of the node I am installing. So I think last year I have installed that node, so it became older now. Let me reinstall the Node.js in my system. Meanwhile, guys, could you please install the Angular? Could you please install the Angular in your system by using this command? npm install space @Angular space CLI space -G. You execute this command in your system. I will install the node in my system now. Latest version of the node I am installing in my system. Latest version of the node I am installing in my system. Guys, understand carefully. If you want to attend the Angular course separately, it is 5,000 or 6,000. Do you realize that? You are learning Angular also here. I told you that I will make you full stack developer. You can install it in any folder. You can install in any folder. I am using -G now. It's a global installation. You can install in any folder. That's not an issue. You can install from your command prompt also. No problem. You can install it in any folder. You can install from your command prompt. You can install from VS Code terminal also. It's up to you. It's up to you. As for front-end applications development, we will use VS Code. You can use Eclipse also, that's not an issue. You can use Eclipse also, that's not an issue. Jitendra. Yeah, fine. With this, I have installed Node.js. Let's check Node-B. Node-B. Which version of the node available in my system now? Guys, earlier I was having Node 12 version 12. Now I am using Node version 16, which is the latest version. TSC-V, which is having version 4.6.2. If you install the TS once again, install -G TypeScript, it will update to the latest version of the TypeScript. It will update the latest version of the TypeScript. TypeScript to latest. Yeah, it's updated. TSC-V, it's updated to 4.6.2. That's fine. Now go for Angular installation. npm space install @Angular/CLI-G. Perfect. How to open VS Code from the folder? Just you go to this folder, you open your command prompt, you type code space or dot. That's it. From that folder, VS Code will open. Code space dot. code space dot. From that folder, it will open the VS Code. Got it, Chinmay? Chinmay asked that question, how to open VS Code from a particular folder. Open your command prompt from that folder where you want to open VS Code, then type code space dot. It will open that. It will open that. Now, Angular I am installing in my system by using npm install. Angular I am installing npm install Angular CLI-G. Angular software I am installing. Once the Angular software got installed, we can create one Angular application and we can run that application, guys. So today we are going to develop our first application by using Angular. We are going to develop our first application by using Angular. Let's wait. It's getting installed. It is updating some packages. Yeah. It's done, guys. Now let's check it. ng-v. ng-v. ng nothing but Angular. I'm checking which version of the Angular it installed. ng-v, Angular CLI-G we installed. VS Code you can take it from here. VS Code you can take it from here. Then we are trying to check the version of the Angular which is installed in our system. Help new run server version. Oh, ng-version. Angular V, Angular CLI. Guys, can we say this is a banner? Can we say this is a banner? Yeah. Which version of the Angular CLI installed? Which version of the Angular CLI installed in our system now? Can you check it? Which version of the Angular, which version of the Node? Angular version 13 and Node version 16. And these are the Angular packages which are available by default. Okay. After installing the Angular, check the Angular installation using below command. Check Angular installation using below command. What is that command, guys? Just ngv. Just ngv, which is going to give you which version of the Angular we are using. Which version of the Angular we are using? We can check that by using ng-v. Yet not even hyphen, just ngv, which is going to print the version of the Angular. Got it? Fine. Once the Angular version is ready, we have VS Code also ready. Can we create the Angular application now? Can we create the first application by using Angular, guys? Can we create the first application by using Angular? Come on, please respond. Please respond. Can we create the first application by using Angular? Here I have given the command also. To create the Angular application, execute the below command. Execute below command in the command prompt. What is the command? ng-new app1. ng-new, ng nothing but Angular. New app1 is the name of the project. I want to create the first project by using Angular. ng-new project name. ng-new project name. You can give any project name here. App name. ng-new app name, which is going to create the Angular application. It is a little bit time-taking process, guys. Observe clearly. ng-new, I'm giving as app1. Check in the ng workspace. Do you have any folder in the ng workspace? 19 JRTP ng workspace. Currently, nothing available here. Now, I'm executing a command ng-new app1. Now, enter. It will ask some options. We have to select those options. Then it will create one Angular application for us. Let's wait. Yeah. Would you like to add Angular routing? Currently, do you want to go for routing? No. Enter no. What do you like to use? Which style format you want to use? CSS, SCSS, SASS, less. Which styles you want to use? I want to go with the normal CSS now. Okay. Fine. Now it is creating Angular application for us. It is installing the required packages to create the Angular application. Installing the packages npm. By using Node Package Manager, it is creating Angular application. It will take some time now. Fine, guys. So to create the Angular application, execute the below command in the command prompt. We are done with the Angular setup. Now let's start create the Angular applications. We are done with Angular setup. Let's start building Angular applications. To create Angular application, execute below command in the command prompt. Let's do one thing. Create workspace folder. Create workspace folder in your file system. Open command prompt from that file system, from the workspace folder. Open command prompt from your workspace folder. Then type code space dot. Then it will open VS Code IDE from that folder. Open the terminal in the VS Code IDE to execute the commands. Open terminal in VS Code IDE to execute our commands from now. Open terminal in the VS Code IDE to execute our commands. Open the terminal in the VS Code IDE to execute our commands. To create the Angular application, execute the below command in the command prompt. ng new app name, which is going to create the Angular application. Still it is creating, guys. It is taking the time. Right. To create the Angular application, execute the below command in the command prompt. ng new app name. It will take some time to create the application because it is going to install all the required packages to create our Angular application. Okay. Create the workspace folder in your file system. Open the command prompt from your workspace folder. Then type code space. Then it will open VS Code IDE from that folder. Open the terminal in the VS Code IDE to execute our commands. So this is the terminal that we have opened. Finally, the project got created. So once the terminal got opened, you can execute the below command. To create the Angular application. ng new app name. Angular project got created. Once application got created, navigate into that application folder. And execute below command to run the Angular application. What is the command? ng serve. Now ng app1 is created, guys. App1 project is created. So there are so many files available in the app1 folder. We'll come to that. First, let's navigate into that folder. cd space app1. I navigated to that folder. Now I will execute a command called ng serve command. What is that command, guys? ng serve command. What is the purpose of ng serve command? Which is used to run our Angular application. It is generating browser application bundles. Yeah, Angular application completed. Starting the Angular application completed successfully. Angular live development server is listening on the localhost 4200. Open your browser and localhost :4200 to access our Angular application. Guys, get ready. First application we are accessing, which is built based on Angular, localhost :4200. Wow. Are we able to access our Angular application now? Right. So this is the default page that we are getting from our app1. App1 application is running. Let's do one thing. In this application, we have app module. Go to app module component.html. I told you now, one template file will be available. Okay. Now delete this template file data. Let's write welcome to Angular 13. Welcome to Angular 13. Now you see, are you able to see that message? Welcome to Angular 13. Are you able to see that message? Welcome to Angular 13. Come on guys. Where I have modified it, I have modified that in the component .view. Component is having a template. .html is the template. In that HTML I have given welcome to Angular, or let me write it as welcome to Ashok IT. Welcome to Ashok IT. Okay? I'm writing H1. Welcome to Ashok IT. Now can you see that? Our text is printing whatever is there in the template. Whatever the presentation logic you want, you can write the presentation logic in the template file. You can write the presentation logic in the template file. So guys, do you understand this procedure now? Look at this procedure. I have given the steps also clearly. Read these steps. How to create our first application using Angular, and how to run our first application using Angular. Creating the first application and running the first application using Angular. You understood or not? Confirm. No one is responding in the chat. क्या हो गया भाई? सो गया क्या सब लोग? Are you able to understand this or not? So what is the command to create the Angular application? What is the command to create the Angular application? ng new app name. What is the command to run the Angular application? What is the command to run the Angular application? ng sub. Angular application running in which server? Angular application running in which server? Live server. Which port number it is using? 4200 by default. Angular application running on the live server, it is running on the port number 4200. Okay. If you access this, then that Angular application is going to open. Okay. Next one, guys. Here in this Angular application, there are several files available. Folders are available here. There is one file called package.json, which is very important. There is one file available which is called package.json, which is very important. In this package.json, we are going to configure all the dependencies we want to use. Do you know pom.xml? You know pom.xml in the Java? Why we will use pom.xml in the Java? For dependencies configuration. Similarly, in the Angular, we are going to configure the dependencies by using package.json. Which file will be used in the Angular to configure the dependencies? Package.json. In the Angular, we are having several packages, guys. Like if you want to use normal Angular applications, if you want to develop the normal Angular applications from the Angular 2 version onwards, Angular core package. If you want to work with the directives and pipes, simple man. Now, if I want to work with Kafka in my application, if I want to use Kafka in my application, in the Spring Boot application, what I will do? I will add the Kafka dependency in the pom.xml or not. Okay? Right. If you want to use Kafka in my project, I want to add the Kafka dependency. If I want to use a security in my application, I want to add the security dependency. Similarly, in the Angular also there are several packages are available. Angular core package, Angular common package, Angular compiler package, Angular platform browser package, Angular browser dynamic, Angular forms, Angular router, Angular HTTP, Angular animation, Angular material, Angular CDK, Angular CLI. Like that, there are several packages are available in the Angular. There are several packages are available in the Angular. Right. What is the purpose of these packages also I have given. Angular core package is the mandatory package in every Angular application. If you want to develop the Angular application, then you need to use Angular core package. Next one, Angular common package. This package provides common directives and pipes which are used in most of the Angular applications. Angular compiler. This package is used to compile template into JavaScript code. We never invoke Angular compiler directly. We will invoke that indirectly using below two packages, platform browser dynamic. So whatever the code that we are writing in the Angular, that is a TypeScript code. Can we execute the TypeScript code directly in the browser? Can we execute the TypeScript code in the browser directly? Then what we need to do? We need to convert the TypeScript into JavaScript. Then JavaScript we can execute in the browser. But are we converting manually? Are we doing a transpilation manually? No. We are just executing ngserve command. Transpilation is happening internally by using platform browser dynamic packages. Okay, platform browser and browser dynamic, it is happening. Okay, and the next one is forms. If you want to develop a form in the application, then we will go for forms package. This package used to create two-way data bindings, validations in the Angular application. This package works based on the package called zone.js. This package contains two modules, forms module and reactive forms. If you want to develop a forms in the Angular login form, registration form in the Angular application, then you need to go for forms module. Angular router. This package is used to create routings in Angular 2+ applications. That routing means when I click on home, it should go to home page. When I click on services, online training, it should go to online training package. When I click on interview questions, it should go to interview questions. When I click on placements, it should go to placements. When I click on internship, it should go to internship. When I click on interview questions, go to interview questions. When I click on block, go to the block. Like this. Here, routings are required. That means we should navigate from one page to another page. To navigate from one page to another page in the Angular, there is a package called the router package. And the next one is Angular HTTP. HTTP is used for sending AJAX request. That means Angular is a front-end application. Backend is developed by using Spring Boot. How to access backend APIs from the front-end application? That's where AJAX calls comes into picture. To make a AJAX call by using Angular, we need to use a package called a HTTP package. Okay, for every functionality, there is a package in the Angular. Like similarly, animations available, material is available, and the CDK available, CLI package is also available. So there are some important packages that we have in the Angular. The most important packages that we need to remember in the Angular is, first one is Angular core, which is mandatory to develop any Angular application. Angular core package available. The next one, Angular compiler package available. It is used to perform transpilation. Angular forms available to develop the forms in the Angular application. The next one, Angular HTTP, which is used to make REST calls to the backend APIs. And the next one, Angular routers available, Angular route package available in order to Angular router package available in order to navigate, in order to establish the navigations from one page to another page. So these packages that we are going to use in every Angular application. Angular core, it contains the basic functionality to develop the Angular application. Angular compiler, it will contain the logic to perform transpilation. Our Angular application code available in the TypeScript. TypeScript cannot be executed in the browser directly. So TypeScript code should be converted to JavaScript. To convert the TypeScript code into JavaScript, we are using Angular compiler. And the next one is Angular forms. If you want to develop form-based applications in the Angular, then we will go for Angular forms package. And if you want to use HTTP concept, like I want to access backend REST API, then we will go for Angular HTTP package. If you want to establish the navigation from one page to another page, then we will go for Angular router package. Guys, do you understand what is the purpose of these packages in the Angular? Where we are going to configure these packages? These packages we are going to configure in package.json. We are going to configure in the package.json. See here, Angular common, Angular compiler, Angular core, Angular forms, Angular browser, platform, Angular router. All the dependencies are available in package.json. All the dependencies are available in the package.json. Next one is angular.json file available. Angular.json file is available, which contains what environments that we are using, what server that we are using. All the details will be configured in the angular.json file. Okay. And the next important thing is modules in the Angular. In the Angular application, we can have any number of modules. When we run the Angular application, it starts execution from the start module, that is app module. Angular application bootstrapping will begin from app module. Guys, Angular application nothing but collection of modules and components. Now, if you see the Angular application, by default, we are having app module.ts. In the app module, what is the component it is loading? App component. There is a module called app module. Export to class app module. In this app module, they are loading app component.